Kassandra coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video. Send us some love, some positive vibes your way, especially if you're going through something and you need them out there today. Hey, yesterday we had a debacle of a shard opening video. We went for Shaq Diesel, Shaq Daddy, and the Hyper, protected by Viper. But we didn't get him. We didn't get him at all. It was a big fail. We got a bunch of Taturas. Oh, man. It's overcompensating. But here he is. Double Tatura? Get me out of here.
A few moments later.
Double Tatura rhyme hide? Come on! But I do have to give some love to you guys, some gratitude to you guys, especially on behalf of David's family. I shared the awful news that one of my clanmates, David, sadly passed away at the young age of 35 in that video, and you guys gave so much love, and they read the comments, and a lot of donations flowed in as well, and I just wanted to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart, as well as my clanmates' hearts, as well as his family's hearts. So thank you guys for being so cool. It really does mean a lot in a really awful situation. Today, we got to talk about the brand new faction, Argonite, specifically the first fusion of this faction, Kassandra, right? Kassandra is the most polarizing fusion champion I've ever seen in this game. So much so that I was looking at Nub Raid's video, have all the respect in the world for Nubs, right? He says, she's terrible. She is terrible. There it is. And then I looked and I saw, oh, what does MTG Jedi say? He says, she's not bad. She's not bad. Okay, wait. And then, wait, Bronco says, she's amazing. And I'm like, what the frig is going on right now? And then that's only a few creators I picked out. I've seen such polarization. And I think a lot of it is the Assassin's Creed compared to the Ninja Turtles. I think it landed, well, a little soft. The IP collaboration. What about you guys so far, first impressions? Nostalgically, it landed a bit soft for me. I'm not a huge Assassin's Creed guy, as I've said before, but hey, man, give me some Thundercats. Thundercats. Or some He-Man again, and now we're talking, you know? Either way, though, I do appreciate it for those of you who do like Assassin's Creed out there. Beyond the IP itself, what do we think about Kassandra, right? So I've been playing around with Kassandra for 2 days now on the test build. I'm obviously on the test server here, and I want to share my opinion with you guys. The truth about Kassandra. Definitive truth, okay? So let's start out with a quick little pros cons list. What do you say, guys? Pros. She's the first champion in a brand new faction, right? Now that has some cons too, which we'll talk about, but it's cool, right? First of all, this is a hero collector game. You want to collect the first champion in a brand new faction? Hell yeah, right? Faction Wars, you'll already have a champion. Gonna be fantastic. You'll have another assassin to pair with Ezio, who, by the way, I really like a lot. Assassin bonus. It might be a little underwhelming, but you do get that bonus for extra assassins. Sustain mechanics. She can keep herself alive while she's under the buffs that she provides in her A3. We'll talk more about that, obviously, in today's video. Serviceable against waves and bosses, I should say, and basses and bosses. She brings a 3-turn burn on a 3-turn cooldown. She's not very intensive when it comes to booking her up as well, which we'll talk about in just a moment. Her aura is speed in all battles. Speed in all battles. I mean, you can use that, well, everywhere, right? Chimera Trials. Because of her unkillable mechanic, you can actually nail some trials during the ram phase, which is really cool. It can unlock some trials for you on your account. There's more than just that. We'll talk about everything in a bit. But how about some cons? Faction Guardians. This is a big problem here, guys. I was watching a bunch of guides on or early impression videos similar to this one, and one thing that I didn't see everybody mention, some did, is we have no Faction Guardian bonuses. A lot of these guides, including mine right now, do not have awakenings on this champion. We're leaving a ton of stats off the table and comparing her to other champions, oftentimes who have way better gear and way better bonuses. When I say gear, it's not here, but we can list it. Accessories. Accessories. I just had to farm for an hour Argonite accessories on the test server, not even my real account, just to put her in something. We're not going to have the caliber of accessories for a brand new faction that we do any other faction. So coming into the game here, compared to any other champion in the game that you see showcased alongside of her, she's already got a lot working against her. And we have to recognize that. Whether you love her or hate her, you got to recognize that out the gate here. The cost of the faction, right? I mean, listen, pros and cons of the champion herself, But doing a faction, even if you're free to play or a spender, is expensive in terms of time and resources, obviously. So there is that to consider as well. Sure, she might be serviceable, she might be good, but is she good given what it's going to cost me to get her? Cost of upgrade, books and stuff like that. The Assassin's bonus is a bit underwhelming, that damage. I tested them all together. I wasn't really digging the bonus damage or the synergy. It's certainly not like Ninja Turtles, okay? Overall, her kit is good. I think her kit is good. I'm tipping my hand a little bit here, but maybe not great. She's not, she's not going to break the game, and she's not going to carry your entire account. Really quickly, let's go over what she actually freaking does, right? 3 or 6 time hitter on her A1. Each hit decreases enemy's turn meter by 7.5 and increases this champion's turn meter by 7.5. Can't be resisted if this champion's under a veil or perfect veil. I want to start with the A1. This, I think people are underrating it out the gate. She needs to get 6 hits. She needs 50% HP or less, which because of her A3 can happen a decent amount of times, right? But all of this turn meter depletion and turn meter fill, it adds up to be a lot. I mean, if you can get the 6 damn hits, you're getting 7.5% turn meter fill on every single one of the damn 6 hits. You're getting almost half turn meter. That's pretty nuts, especially against bosses as well. You know, against like the Ice Golem, I was just watching her, like what feels like almost fully deplete turn meter on her A1. This is a powerful A1, it just is. On the A2, Spear of Leonidas, it's a decreased defense and a burn on a 3-turn duration on a 3-turn cooldown. And again, the books here, very reasonable. 3 on the A1, 3 on the A2, 2 on the A3, none on the passives. Not bad at all, right? On the books. So there's a lot to like here so far. The burn is a 3-turn duration with the decreased defense, so the uptime is 100%, especially considering she gets so much turn meter from her A1 and her A3. On the A2 as well, place a stun on all enemies for 1 turn if the damage dealt by this skill is more than 50% of the target's max HP. Not very good for wave content necessarily, because doing half their max HP, she's not going to hit hard enough to do that. But the good news is, in the arena, which I don't think she's going to be a meta endgame arena champion, don't get me wrong, I'll talk about why in just a moment, you can actually stun pretty effectively there, because 50% in PvP is not a high threshold. So that's a cool move too. On the A3, she cleanses herself, which I love. She heals herself 50% of her max HP and a 50% turn meter fill. It's all really good stuff. She brings an increased attack, a shatter, and increased speed on herself, and she prevents her own death and keeps herself alive when she's under those buffs. She has the Everything is Permitted, Assassin passive, and the Blood of Sparta. The defense, she's still squishy. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. 16k base HP. Even her attack is underwhelming, but the attack part I do like. It does give you an opportunity to get a lot of extra damage out of Kassandra. Whenever this champion attacks an enemy, increases champion's attack by an equal amount of 50% of the target's defense. That ends up being a lot of attack, and it really does mitigate the fact that her base attack is only 1343. Heck, man. Speed in all battles. Not too bad. Kind of like a really crappy movie. I went into playing Kassandra on the test server, especially after seeing all the negativity around her, expecting to really hate her. And kind of like a negative movie that all your friends really hate, I kind of walked out feeling like, she's not that bad at all. So I'm tipping my hand a little bit here. I'll give my final grading on her at the end of the video, but I want to show you the build that I was able to come up with here. Very realistic gear. Not super trash, but realistic, especially the rare accessories that we have on her. I have defense on the ring, I have crit damage on the amulet, and I have HP on the banner. HP attacker accuracy is going to be fine on the banner. I have perception in Savage. Of course, you could run her in Stone Skin if you wanted to, as well. Stone Skin and Lethal if you wanted to use her in the arena. Interestingly enough, on the press release around this champion, they sold her as an arena champion, which, again, I'm going to tell you why I don't love her in the arena in just a moment here. So I have crit damage on the gauntlets, I have attack percentage on the chest, and I have speed on the boots, okay? Total stats that we're going to be rocking here are 4,200 on the attack, 237, 109, 212 on the crit rate, crit damage, 308 on the accuracy. That's pretty much it. The downside to her is, unlike some of the other assassins, like Ezio, who the more I play around with Ezio, guys, you guys are going to freaking love him. You guys are going to love this dude. She doesn't have a perfect veil like Ezio does, though. She doesn't bring her own perfect veil. So I would advise running her with accuracy. She pairs very well with champions like a Rector Drath, who are going to, play alongside of her in just a moment as well. I have no blessing. I have no awakenings. Very realistic here for you guys. I have an horrific coronet for extra damage. Once I do have a soul for her, you could go, depending if you're going to go stone skin on her, you could certainly go lightning cage. You could consider intimidating presence. You could consider, especially in areas like Fire Knight, to get even more bang from all those hits on her A1. You could go with Phantom Touch. You could use her in PvE as your Brimstone champion. You could even go something like Polymorph as well in the arena. So there's some options there for sure. I guess the last one I'll shout out is Nature's Wrath, which obviously combos very well with the Arythi Coronet that we have as a relic on her. Masteries. Well, the most important mastery is Giant Slayer. Now, in the arena, if you are going to lean into her and you love what you see in this video and you want to try her in the arena, Helm Smasher's cool. But Giant Slayer on 6 freaking hits, hell yeah, that's a lot of damage. That's a lot of extra damage. So Giant Slayer is the way to go for PvE, and it's not the worst thing in PvP either. I do have Lasting Gifts. Now keep in mind, Lasting Gifts, it's nice to have on her, but you need the duration increase of all 3 of those buffs in order to get another turn of unkillable or unvulnerable, whatever you want to call it, unkillable, I guess, right? Out of that A3, excuse me. But it still is nice to have the Shatter, the increased attack, and the increased speed on that A3 extended. So those are my favorite builds on her, guys. Listen, you could explore some more unorthodox builds. She has some like weird solo potential in her kit because she can't be harmed when she's under those buffs. A lot of it does require kind of manual work, right? I can show you, like, I was watching her solo Sand Devil or duo Sand Devil, right? I'm just going to go to a Spirit Affinity stage. If you pair, it's easier if you pair her with a Perfect Veil champion, obviously. But just so you can get a feel for her, right? She's, well, Rector dying does not help us out here, right? But as you're about to see, she gets a lot of turn meter off that A1, but she strips out her own buffs. She wasn't supposed to die right out the gate there. Maybe I was practicing during an easier stage. But either way, you can see that you can kind of just, if she had a little bit more accuracy on this build, I might just build a solo. This is not stage 25 though, right? But if she's under those buffs and you speed tune her appropriately, she can just keep herself alive. Moreover, the fact that she's healing herself and has that invincibility when she's under those buffs, it actually, even without building her in regen, immortal, like the typical gear, she does very well for herself. So just on auto here, listen, this is just Minnow, so don't read too much into it, but you can see her mechanics. You can see her damage against a level 185 mobs here. You can kind of see everything that she brings and how her kit really synergizes nicely together. I like that A3 where she's healing herself. She's cleansing herself as well. There's actually kind of a lot to like about her, right? And her damage is not, it's not Georgid, but it's not bad. You know, I was pleasantly surprised with her damage because, again, going into this playtest, I wasn't expecting a ton, but I love all that decreased turn meter that she brings. Nice damage, the burns, the self-cleanse. She has a lot of sustainability for an otherwise squishy champion, which is pretty cool. You know what? Because they say she's an arena champion, let's just go into the damn arena. Listen, I'm going to pair her with Ezio. But let me just be real with you guys. He might steal the show because the thing about Ezio is I just want to be real and I want to cop to it when I'm wrong, right? I was not super high on Ezio. I wasn't low on him, but I was like, I couldn't get over the whole stone skin thing in his kit, right? But honestly, he's more of a Nell with an Arakan elixir. You don't have to worry so much about the stone skin part, right? Maybe Nell's a bit of an exaggeration because of the passive, but he can delete teams like an absolute maniac. Anyway, we're here to talk about Kassandra. So let's just go in here. Let's go with the A3. Now, I want to show you why I want to say right out the gate here before we go with Ezio, why I don't think she's an elite arena champion like she's being sold to us, which I think is unfair, right? Like, no offense to Plarium, but, you know, they're selling her as this amazing PvP champion. But in order for her to be an amazing PvP champion, she needs to borrow a page from Nice, the Shadow Thief. Now listen, I don't expect her to be like Nice, right? He's a mythical and he's one of the most OP champions in the game. But Nice has something going for him on his alternate form. He has a block damage that is protected. The fact that these buffs are not protected on her really does take away a lot of what could be in the arena, right? If those were protected buffs on her A3, it would change everything in terms of her viability. There's Marius, there's, you know, there's so many buff removers out there right now in the meta that, sure, it's really cool, but think about it this way. If these buffs were protected on Kassandra, it would act as a mini kind of Nice, right? Because those buffs cannot be removed, and she'd be unkillable while she's under those buffs. But with all the buff removers out there, it's very hard. You know, sometimes it works out, other times it doesn't. It's hard to depend on that as, you know, the main part of her kit. Check out Ezio, by the way, guys. My man is he's just a delete button, man. He's pretty nasty. All right, she's going to be up next, hopefully. Okay, cool. Is she even going to get a turn? I'm just going to go A1 here because I want her to take a turn. All right, so now her A2 ability, it's okay. Magic versus Embry, so I apologize there. We're going to go into one more battle in the arena. But those are my quick thoughts. And look at Ezio on the A3 too. Like, dude, you guys are, like, I'm going to say it one more time. You guys are really going to like this guy, honestly. He's really, I think he's better than I thought he was going to be, better than a lot of people thought he was going to be. Samuel, oh boy, I'm probably going to get smoked here, but let's just go against this team. I want to give her one more shot. I'd like to show off that A2 as well. So PvP. I think the truth is she's okay in the arena. I don't think she's going to be an endgame meta champion, and not everybody has to be fair, right? An endgame meta champion, certainly. Let's go. Let's steal all buffs. I don't know. Let's steal from what? Mr. Odin? Sure. That's Ezio's A3, where he can obviously steal buffs. Let's come in here, decrease duration of buffs with Arbiter, and hopefully she can stay alive on her big showcase. It's not looking very promising, though, and I'm scared as hell of Leo. And come on, just get to her turn. Not much we can do here. Let's go. Okay. Oh, Fabian comes through in the clutch. Oh, come on, and then she dies. This is part of the problem too. Like I said at the very beginning of the video, right? Part of the problem with these accessories and whatnot, I can't build her as fast as I need to, you know? Let's try to find another team. I apologize, guys. One more arena showcase, then we'll take her into PvP. And then I'll give you my final assessment on this champion. Man, these guys are not making it easy for me here, you know, in terms of these teams. All right, let's try this. Hopefully we go first. Nope, we certainly don't. Fantastic. Thanks, guys. All right, let's go. One more shot here. I don't know. Things are probably not going to go well here, but you can see what I'm working with. All right, let's go in. And, okay. We get a little lockout action. Fantastic. And we have an opening here, okay? So we're going to try to go ahead and land a stun, at least on Hilvi and Tormund here. We got to resist. Well, yeah, we got to resist because she's not under Veil. But you can see, you know, against a Fabian, a squishier champion, she's able to go in there and land a stun on everybody if she does more than 50% HP on that A2. So, listen, like I said, I think she'd be a nifty little champion to mess around in the arena, especially with Ezio on a fun team, progression, farming your Great Hall, stuff like that. But I don't see her, even once we do have awakenings and empowerments and blessings and better accessories, I just don't see the kit without those protected buffs on the A3 as enough to make her a menace in the arena in terms of really defining the meta as some other champions have. I would give her maybe like a C+ in the arena. Now let's talk about other areas of the game, such as any dungeon, PvE content. So we got a Mikey, we got a Lydia, a Rector. Again, you really want to pair with another Veil champion, right? And then we have Ezio. Let's just watch a little bit of wave content here. And you'll see, one thing that will stick out right away is her damage is not bad, but Ezio's is better. It's weird. I mean, I'm glad they gave Ezio for free, but I think so many people would be so much more excited about Ezio as a fusion and Kassandra as the freebie. That's the irony here. Kassandra feels like the freebie who's actually solid, and Ezio seems like a really solid fusion, you know? At least now that I've played around with both of them for a bit longer here. But this is kind of a decent team, especially for the final stage of the dungeon. And you can see, do you see Ezio smack? I mean, these mobs are level 350. He's a little delete button, man. Ezio's really stealing the show here. But there is some, especially against bosses. Keep in mind, when you think Kassandra, it's more of a single target, right? Good against bosses. Ezio, great against waves. So don't hold it too much against her here. When we get to that Ice Golem, you're going to see a few things. Hopefully you'll see her survivability that she brings to the table. But you'll certainly see the viability of those burns, right? You'll see her self-cleanse, which is really nice on the A3 as well. You'll see, hopefully, a lot of turn meter manipulation. So she should be dead, but she's under her buffs. perfect, okay? We have Retro Draft again. Beautiful champion to pair her with. She's under her buffs. Well, she's not anymore, so now she's vulnerable. The buffs are only 2 turns on a 4-turn duration. She does fill her own turn meter, though, which is nice. But I like having that survivability on squishy champions like that. It's quite unique, right? She's a unique champion. I think, as well, you got to think about the game in this regard, guys. And see, she took the heal reduction off, and now she's immune again, right? Let's take a look at her damage really quickly. Not bad. So, as I was starting to say, you can see the damage there. Not bad, especially with that burn, single target. So what do I think about her in PvE? 60K per hit on that A1. Not too bad. Again, guys, I'm not sitting here, a couple notes. I'm not sitting here telling you she's an S-tier mythical champion, the best champion ever, right? But I don't think she's that awful either. Her damage is not bad. And ironically, even though they said she's a PvP champion, I think she's actually going to be helpful for a lot of accounts, especially progression accounts in PvP. She's really viable, PvE, excuse me. She's really viable in a lot of dungeons with that burn that she brings and with all those hits on that A1 as well. Sure, she has no freeze for Fire Knight Hard, but I do think that I do think she's still viable on getting the shield down, of course, right? So again, goes in there. Even when she's attacking a minion, she's still filling her turn meter on that A1. Really nice. We're not hitting any speed records here in terms of speed farming, but I like it. I like what she brings to the table. Now, another thing that would be really nice if she gave that shatter to everybody on the team, wasn't so selfish with her buffs, but still, I think it synergizes pretty well with the rest of her kit. All right, here we go. Let's see if she can end this, and I want to compare her damage to, or I want to check out her damage here, especially against Mikey and Ezio, even though, to be fair, Ezio was dead. Look at that, 63K. Not bad. All right, let's see. What are we looking at here? Kassandra with 5 million damage. Ezio was dead, a lot of the battle, but not bad at all, right? And again, I'm going to remind you for the last time here, crap accessories, no empowerment, no faction guardians, everybody else, max faction guardians, everybody else on the team, right? Awakenings on some of these champions, right? Empowerment on some of these champions. So, again, these are the little things that don't show up on the stat sheets, right? I think you guys kind of get the point. I just want to go against a spirit affinity level here. So this is Fire Knight Hard, okay? And we'll end the video after this, but I want you to see her in Fire Knight as well. I really do think that a lot of accounts are going to be able to use this champion, especially even I will use this champion. Think about areas where we do incur a lot of bosses like Faction Wars, the Red boss or the Faction Wars bosses, but also think about areas where like Grim Forest, for example, right? She could be a pretty nice draft pick if you need a burn, you need a little bit of survivability as well. Think about the boss there that does all that damage. If she's under her buff, she'll block all that damage or keep herself alive as well on those reflects. What the heck is the guy's name? Sorry, Fergius. Fergius the Trove Master. She could definitely be viable in areas like that as well. Not for endgame accounts that already have every champion in the game like yours truly, but I think for a lot of accounts, right? Would I have loved a stronger champion to be the very first of the new faction? Of course I would have. But I don't think she's awful. I think she is unique. So I think I fall more along the lines, just to put a bow on this review, of she's not the best fusion. She's far from it. And she's not a must fuse. But she's a cool champion who can be serviceable to a lot of accounts out there, okay? But anyway, I mean, maybe we could have handled Fire Knight Hard 10. I don't know. But she's not going to be super low HP a lot because of that self-heal that she brings on the A3 against the Fire Knight. So keep that in mind. So you're looking at probably 3 hits on that A1, but still decent damage against Fire Knight progression, non-hard mode. She'll certainly be great at controlling, as we just saw evidenced against the Ice Golem as well. And like I said, you can use her in areas like the Chimera to get some trials on Ram form because she can't be killed. So I do think there's enough here to make her intriguing for a lot of accounts. But will she be an endgame meta champion? No. My overall grade and rating for Kassandra is a B-. I think she's a B- champion. I don't think she's a trash champion. I think she's kind of like on a 5 scale. If I was going to rate her like the in-game ratings, I'd probably give her around a 3.5 to a 4 in most areas of the game. But hey, I think there's a case to be made, especially when you do have better accessories, empowerment, awakening, faction guardians, all the things that you don't see that handicap a new faction. I do think she could be viable and really a cherished champion on a lot of accounts out there. So that is my truth on Kassandra. What do you guys think? What do you think about this champion? Are you with me that she could be viable, or are you more in total trash territory? Thanks for watching, guys. Much love, and as always, take care.